In the hazy mist of Scotland in 108 AD, a 5,000-man army marched, their armor clanking, looking as imposing as a challenger-ranked general. Suddenly, whoosh, a thick fog rolled in, and when the fog cleared, boom, 5,000 men vanished without a trace. Not a single corpse, not a piece of armor, not even a hair from a pack donkey's leg. It was as if the Earth server had just lagged, and the admin decided to delete the folder named Ninth Legion to free up memory. Imagine this. These weren't rookie soldiers. These were Legio IX Hispana. True war gods who had once dominated all of Europe. Yet they disappeared as if they had just stepped through a portal to some isekai world to become the main characters. Later, historians scratched their heads until they went bald. Wait, 5,000 lives, not 5 chicken eggs, so how could they not find them? Some said they were devoured by the Loch Ness Monster. Others claimed they were herded into the forest by tattooed natives and turned into gold. But whatever the reason, this is still one of the most classic ghost incidents of all time. One that even your ex would have to bow down to. Welcome to the Medieval Archive. Today, we're going to uncover the most mysterious and ghostly disappearance in Roman history. The Ninth Legion. Those who forgot to save their data before entering the boss's lair. Have you got enough of the mysterious vibe? If so, tell me to continue, so we can go back in time to see what these vengeful guys looked like before their accounts were deleted in part 2. Before becoming a mysterious disappearance case that left historians depressed for 2,000 years, the Ninth Legion was actually a bunch of genuine, try-hard players. These weren't new recruits, but early farming guys from the time of Julius Caesar. Imagine, while you were still struggling to choose a hero, this Ninth Legion had already conquered everything from Spain to the borders of Germany, clearing the map wherever they went. Their profiles were dreamlike, like full mastery level 7, 99% win rate, expert at difficult matchups. But then, one day, the bosses in Rome looked at the map and said, "Hey, that British Isles looks pretty good. Let's go buff the Empire a bit more territory there." And so the Ninth Legion packed their bags and left, carrying with them the overconfidence of those who thought they were going to play bronze rank. In the eyes of the Romans, Britain was nothing more than a pirated server filled with insane bosses. There were Celtic and Pictish tribes, burly, heavily tattooed men with spiky hair, and a peculiar penchant for decorating their homes with severed heads. At this point, the Ninth Legion was like a rich young man, dressed in designer clothes and riding a fine horse, entering a slum full of ruthless thugs. The Romans thought, "These guys aren't wearing armor? What kind of nerf is this?" But they forgot one thing. The locals didn't play by the rules. They played a game of guerrilla warfare and sneak attacks. The Ninth Army Corps lumbered into the northern fog, confidently believing themselves to be the king of all branches. Unaware they were venturing into a lobby filled with the most toxic individuals in history, where their luck stat was plummeting into negative territory. Welcome to the land of fog, drizzle, and head-chopping hunters. Don't take your eyes off the screen, because these war gods are about to encounter the most serious system glitch of their lives. Entering the hacker phase, the Ninth Legion went on a killing spree. Initially, they displayed their superior skills. They built perfectly straight roads and erected impregnable fortresses, like something out of Minecraft's creative mode. They looked at the half-naked natives and sneered, "These guys with sticks trying to fight against shields? Let me show you what Meta 4.0 is all about." Then, the Ninth Legion began its terrifying stat boost. They marched north, occupying York, turning it into a top-notch gaming house, to use as a springboard to conquer the entire island of Great Britain. Every time the natives gathered to cause trouble, the Ninth Legion unleashed their testudo formation, a kind of defensive cheat code that made enemy arrows barely scratch the ground. They were so confident They disregarded the terrain and the terrible weather of the foggy land. Keep going, guys. This map is easy. The final boss is probably just some tattooed guys showing off their axes. The height of their delusion of grandeur was when they believed they had complete control of the lobby. The Emperor in Rome nodded approvingly. The Ninth Legion is awesome. At this rate, they'll take over the entire server sooner or later. They marched north, into the territory of the Caledonians. Those considered low-level NPCs, but actually guerrilla hackers. The Ninth Legion was like a VIP rich kid, wearing glittering wings, wielding a +12 sword, swaggering straight into the dark corners of the map, without bothering to place wards or check bushes. They thought they were hunters, but a huge bear trap was waiting right at their feet. Their egos were so big they obscured their vision. They thought they were writing a legend, but in reality, they were just preparing for a game-throwing disaster. Do you want to see how painfully Fate's banhammer hits them in the face? And then, the banhammer of Fate struck, so powerful it wiped out the entire legion. Around 108 or 117 AD, history isn't certain, as there was no 4G for live streaming back then. The Ninth Legion received orders to march north to quell the rebellious Pictish sorcerers. They lumbered into Scotland, where the fog was so thick you couldn't see your toes, let alone the enemy. This is when the greatest game-throwing moment in history began. Instead of a full-scale battle, like in a Marvel movie, the Ninth Legion likely fell into a massive camping trap. Imagine this. 5,000 men marching along when suddenly rocks tumbled down from the mountains, poisoned arrows rained down, and from the fog, tens of thousands of green-faced Picts emerged like zombies from World War Z. The Romans' arrogance backfired fiercely at this point. They wore heavy armor for close-quarters combat, but the natives played a hit-and-run game, disappearing into the forest like ghosts after a fight. The Ninth Legion was now like a giant turtle being devoured by fire ants. Perhaps they were trapped in some remote fortress, out of food, out of hope, and ultimately met with a bloody rage quit. Or perhaps they simply wandered into some valley of death and were completely wiped out. The most ironic thing was, the Roman Empire, its incredibly tedious and meticulous administrative machinery, suddenly forgot their existence. No loss reports, no rescue operation, no memorial service. The name of the Ninth Legion vanished from the military roster as if someone had just pressed Shift+Delete. Emperor Hadrian then ordered the construction of a massive wall, Hadrian's Wall, across the island, essentially saying, "Okay, take a break. There are ghosts or something in the north. Shut down the server. I'm not playing anymore." That's the most bitter game over moment. You're defeated, and the world decides to pretend you never existed. So, after more than 2,000 years, where is the Ninth Legion now? A major spoiler for you guys. Well, they've long since turned to dust, but their ghost still lingers in archaeological news like an unsolved mystery. Some historians say they were sent to the Netherlands and perished there. Others say they were sent to fight the Persians and were utterly defeated. But the theory most favored by gamers, I mean history fanatics, they vanished into the Scottish mist, devoured by tattooed tribes to the point where not a single bone remains as a souvenir. The lesson here? Never be overconfident when traveling to places where locals don't use spoken language to greet each other, but instead use axes. And most importantly, never forget to back up your data. The Ninth Legion outclassed the entire world, but forgot to contact the Central Command Center, resulting in their bitter fate. Permanent deletion from history, without even a single F to show their respect. The Roman Empire ultimately vanished. Hadrian's Wall is now just a tourist spot for Instagram-worthy photos, and the 5,000 members of the Ninth Legion are still playing hide-and-seek in some other dimension. Truly a GGWP. Goodbye, WP. A great match, but a rather trash ending. If you think this mass disappearance is even more bizarre than an ex-lover vanishing after borrowing money, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. I'll be back with more historical revenge incidents that will leave you speechless. Now, goodbye and victory. Hopefully, you won't get kicked off the server like the Ninth Legion. By the way, would you guys like me to make another video exposing some emperor who once declared war on the sea? Here's a hint. His name is Caligula.